What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And today, we got another free-to-play master in HellHades. How's it going, bro?
How you doing, man? Yeah, free to play. Let's go.
How's your journey been? You've been enjoying it and all of that good
I've been
stuff?
loving it.
Yeah?
Yeah, so this is like the third year that I've done this, like back to back. This is by far the most enjoyable one I've done. Like this, we've got the community hype. We've got all of us kind of doing our own challenges. We're kind of bouncing off each other. And it's just refreshing getting back onto a new account, getting those kind of new challenges, trying to do things in a different way. It's really fun. Yeah, loving it.
Yeah, so what has been your highlights? So your 60 champion or anything else in the mix?
Well, I wanted to be the first to 60 out of us kind of like challengers.
Yeah.
And then we've got this challenger chat. And I think it was Neva first was like, oh, by the way, look at this. I was like, I'm so close. And he's got a 60. And then Odd One was like, me too. And I'm like, no, everyone's doing it. So I did my HellHades. I was third out of us lot to do that. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing for me is like the community that are surrounding it. I've never had streams as big as I'm having. I've never had more people like engaged in getting involved in an event type of thing. So for me, that's just really fun.
Yeah, 100%.
What about you? What's been your kind of biggest win, I guess, on the account so far?
Biggest win was the challenges. We mentioned it briefly on your stream. Getting through the bloody Carrot Castle, whatever it's called. Man, that was a crazy time. Also, beating Bistrifus was a bit of a hard one for me on the Halloween halls.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I felt like that one, because of the wrong affinity, I was getting smacked up. Like, it's so badly. Especially having a 5-star champion, right? It can be really hard to get through it. But this is
Who did you bring in to kind of help you as your team?
Marked was my carry for the whole of the campaign until Brutal, yeah. Because she brings the increased defense and the block debuffs, so it helps if I time it correctly, I can actually stop the drop defenses or the provokes. And then she also had the AoE, which actually does a big amount of damage for a 4-star champion. Like, she was smacking relatively hard against the waves. So yeah,
I was not expecting you to say that. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I picked her over Jamasa to get through everything.
Did you?
Yeah. So
I was using Damasa and Elhain for most of my kind of carrying. One thing I will say, like, I know this is a bit cliche, right? It's almost like, who's your first 6-star? The way to get through some of these campaign levels is just press in the bottom left. There's this button that's got AUTO, right? Press that, and you can stop them doing what they want to do. It's just a game changer. Like saving Elhain's big A3 for the start of a level again, just using that A1, like picking people off. It's such a game changer of getting through stuff, and I feel like people don't do it. It's massive. It's absolutely massive to just kind of like help you through a stage.
Oh, 100%. There's been so many times like that. Even like when there's like man-eaters and they put unkillable buffs on and you're like, oh, stop wasting your AoEs now. Just wait for them to finish and then crack it out and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, in terms of this video, anyway, we're getting a little bit off topic there.
Sidetracked, sorry.
Yeah. Basically, we're going to be speaking about who should you 6-star first. I feel like that is the biggest question in Raid. I'm not sure about you, Hades, but I get it every day on stream. Who should I 6-star? And also, who should you 6-star next? Because I feel like there's two different very big questions, right?
Definitely.
So in your opinion, right, if you was coming into this game, what would be your go-tos as who should you 6-star first? Like, what's the things you're looking for? What kind of champions would you be focusing on? And what kind of areas would you be focusing on with that champion?
Yeah, so my number one focus by a long way, like, I've got nothing else on my mind really than Clan Boss. I want to get a champion that I definitely will keep in Clan Boss for foreseeable future. Yeah, so either someone who does good damage, someone who's got poison abilities, or someone who's got debuffs that I need for Clan Boss. But mainly, probably, for my first one, Poisoner, really. Because I know that a Poisoner is going to stay with me for a long time. That's why Kale's often the starter of choice. That's why Kale, even if you pull him as like your second, through a shard or something, is a really good go-to. Because he's easy to book. It's rare books. He's got poisons on 2 different abilities. And he will stay as your kind of Clan Boss champion for a long time. And he's still got a bit of use after that. Like, you can still bring him in as a damage dealer or a campaign farmer later on. So for me, it's got to be, I guess actually I should have called it out as well. It's got to be someone that can farm the campaign.
Yes.
And be in Clan Boss. Yeah, sorry, 2 things.
Yeah.
So longer view as Clan Boss, but firstly, they've also got to be able to farm campaign. Because they're going to be basically your main person you use for, I don't know, maybe like the next month, at least. You'll be there a long time.
Yes.
What's your thoughts, man?
I'm in the same boat. I feel like doing your starter champion, especially since doing the free-to-play series again, definitely makes sense because it costs rare books, which we get a lot of at the start of the game. And of course, you get it's easier to ascend them in terms of potion keeps and all of that good stuff. So you can actually focus your energy into other places like the campaign to get your 60 champions instead of being in the dungeons 24/7, trying your best to farm these higher stages to get these potions earlier on in. So I feel like the starter champion is definitely worth investing in. But I also feel to an extent there is an exception because if you do happen to get lucky or you do happen to get a really strong epic champion, there is some arguments for some epics to be actually very, very strong. Like for me personally, if I pulled a Tyrell, for instance, decrease attack A1, drop defense, great for campaign, great for arena. These kind of champions are ones that I wouldn't mind doing up. But then somebody like a Deacon Armstrong can't do the campaign as quickly as a rare champion like Elhain, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of focus on campaign, and after campaign you want them to be useful in the places like clan boss or arena, and that's kind of the main focus. And I don't think any of the starters you can really go wrong with, right? They kind of all do pretty well in terms of all of those areas at the start.
Yeah, I think so. I think all the starter heroes are still really some of the best rares in the game.
Yeah.
I think with it, maybe there's like 2 or 3 other rares that you might pitch above them in terms of just overall quality. But certainly I wouldn't have leveled any of them over my starter as a kind of like the first champion that I need. It doesn't matter which one you get. If you've got Gaelic, yeah, it's probably the worst, but you can still do some work. Yeah, he still does a job early on. But yeah, certainly I really don't feel like you can look too much further than your starter champion as your first 6-star.
Yeah.
Just as you said, right, the cost to do everything else is so much more for an epic or for a legendary champion.
Yeah, like even if we go into here, guys, look, if we try to ascend this just to 4, we need 3 big potions. We don't need 2.
Ones, yeah.
It's not even, that's just for the rank 4.
So
right?
expensive.
It's very expensive. So you kind of have to think to yourself, do I really want to go through that trouble right now? Where I am at in the missions, have I got enough potions to do so? Have you been staying on top of challenges? And then kind of plan according to that for that first champion. But I definitely still say after this, revisiting the free-to-play, because we spoke about it on your channel, I was going to go for Ronda first, guys. That was going to be my first 60. Then I realized, wow, these potions is going to hold me back, man. And I won't be able to unlock the amulets. I won't be able to unlock the banners, right? So you won't get the true value of those champions. And also legendary skill tomes being one of the hardest things to get. And do you really
free to play the books?
Yeah, and I don't feel like a champion like Ronda really needs the books to shine. And I feel like at rank 50, she'll do the job.
Yeah.
So, all right.
That's an interesting point, because now we're going to talk about, well, who should you 60 next?
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of champions that can just do their job at 50. Certainly for an early game. Like, I see you've got Mordecai there. Mordecai will do basically the same job at 50 that he would do at 60.
Yeah.
And I think, I've got on HellHades.com, we've got like the whole tier listing, and we rate champions by their quality. It's very hard on a web page to say this is what you should do. Yeah, all we can do is say this is how good the champion is. Doesn't mean that should be a 6-star straight away, because actually tons of skills could just be as effective, especially when you've got someone like a debuffer, like a Mordecai, or even like a Deke. Honestly, they can do exactly the same job they were gonna do at level 50. They're just squishier. So for me, neither of those would be a worthy second 6-star unless I didn't have something else coming in.
Yeah, I agree to that. I guess the main thing is, guys, think about where do you want to focus on, right? For me personally, I feel like after campaign, you need to be progressing in clan boss as a main focus, because that is the place that you can go every single day, right? You farm with your clan. Let's do it. So boom.
Nice, Jess. Nice.
What do we get? We got accuracy and crit rate. I'll keep that for now. And we got some gems. But I didn't see that piece. Where's my piece gone?
Oh, to win a crit rate set of gloves there, I reckon.
It probably been. But yeah, guys, if you look here, even just going into the normal, there's a chance to start getting void shards. We're getting the gear like you've seen. You're getting gems, skill tomes. And this is kind of like that daily dopamine rush that you can go through. And then once you get to Ultra Nightmare, start to see a great return. So I feel like kind of focus.
Can I just say as well, like I feel like if you look at all of the new content coming out, and it's the type of drops that we get from stuff, the drops that we get from these new events they're doing, like the Titans events and that, I actually feel like if Raid could remake their game, they would make Clan Boss less rewarding.
Yes.
I think they look at it as a mistake. It used to be the one area of the game, which was the hardest area. No one could really beat Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss for a long time. It was like really hard to do. Yeah. And now most people that have played the game for a while, they find a way to do it. And actually, on a daily basis, you get insanely good rewards, like crazy good. And I think they would change that if they could. Obviously, they can't because it would just be too insane. But yeah, you know what? On my free to play today, what are we on? Day 5?
Day 6 now, I believe. We got the lifesteal set from Ronda, right?
Day 6 of that. Yeah. I've just unlocked Sand Devil's Necropolis.
Wait, what? Really?
It's just happened. I've been farming campaign while we're chatting. I've just unlocked the Sand Devil's Necropolis, as if I could do that on day 6.
So have you got the Doom Tower as well?
I can't upgrade an artifact automatically yet.
You still got to farm normal campaign of Carrick's Castle, but you're in the Sand Devils.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
But yeah, apart from that, guys, like main things, like obviously focus on where you want to go to, and also think about versatility, right? There's loads of guys out on YouTube. HellHades.com, I'll link it below, is a very good tool to go to for checking out grades of champions and if they're worthy of books, or if they're worthy of 6 stars and all of that good stuff. And I feel like when you kind of narrow down what you want to do and how much versatility a champion can have, such as Elhain, by the way, he's doing campaign, clan boss, arena, going to be great for Doom Tower. Think about somebody that's going to bring that same role into multiple places and how much value you're going to get from them. And also think about your account and the book situations. Does this champion require books, or can you kind of skip a few books, right? And get lucky with RNG? I feel like all of these aspects play into it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's also, I see far too often like accounts that have just got like 12 or 13 level 50s, because basically what they look at is like, oh, I've got another good champion. Oh, I've got another good champion. They're pulling shards. Oh, I've got another good champion. So they take all of them up to 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going like 50 crazy. And actually, just getting 2 champions to 60 would turbocharge the speed that you do stuff. It's insane how much more growth you get from a 60 versus a load of 50s.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. For the second one, I start to look at teams. You know, how many teams could that person fit into? Ideally, they're a champion that's going to help me with clan boss. So they've either got, a decreased defense, a weaken, a poison, some sort of a protection ability, or something, some sort of ability that's going to help me in clan boss. But then I say, could they also go into an arena team? Could they also be in my dungeon teams? Like, I need someone who's going to be really flexible. And, I guess I said earlier, maybe I wouldn't do Deacon, but actually Deacon does. Deacon goes into all of those teams. And I also think, and are they a longer term champion that I want to keep?
Yeah.
So you take your Marked potentially could do all of those things, but she's probably not quite good enough for proper long term.
Yeah.
Like 16, So there's a lot of things that you should consider. And it's so much investment to 6-star someone that I get that every single person that plays this game, they'll go into Discord, they'll go onto streams, they go onto, I've got them on Twitter, I've got everywhere. It's like, who should I 6-star next? Because people know such a big decision. And if you get it wrong,
that's it.
It might mean that you've got another 2 weeks of farming before you get another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we've been at it for how long? Like 24 hours a day? 7 days a week.
We've been playing a lot, right?
To get one 6-star champion, so it is intensive, and I feel like it's very important. We actually touched up on a good thing there. Also, guys, food champions, right? Don't just because you see purple and you're seeing an easy 4-star chicken, don't use it. All right. Think about the skills. Think about where it can be used, and just take the extra day or two to farm up champions that you're never going to use to invest into that champion, right? And I feel like that's very important. Shout out to Kai M for the subscription. I don't know how that popped up, but there we go. but
yeah, you're right. Someone that you 100% do not want to use. And that's actually a big mistake people make. They eventually get to this point, like where you are now, nearly at your first 6-star.
Yeah.
And they look at it and they're like, oh, you know what? I might want to use Gaelic, for example. Yeah. You might be like, you know what? I might want to keep him, but I'm so desperate for my first 6-star now that I end up just feeding someone I actually want to keep.
Yeah.
And that's an absolute clanger of a mistake. The amount of people I've seen, like, oh, I had Seer. I fed Seer early on because I really wanted a 6-star, and I've never pulled her again since.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, you should have just waited. Like,
yeah.
You need more patience, basically. Yeah.
It's true. No, I had somebody feed. Oh, who was it? Oh, I forgot which champion it was now. It was actually a pretty strong one from Clan Boss. Wait, what's his name? I'm gonna quickly find it in the sacred order. They pulled a Godseeker. That was it. They pulled
wow.
Yeah, they pulled a Godseeker and they fed it for their starter champion in this free-to-play series. I'm like, no, what are you doing? They're like,
such a short term, isn't it? Such a short term.
They're just thinking 6-star, 6-star, 6-star. But I feel like there is 100% some thought that has to go behind these things. Like, it does get, because for me, guys, I was actually going to feed, and loads of you that watch the channel know, I was going to feed this champion, but now that I didn't, she's going to bring so much utility for my account, because she's my only decrease attack that I've got on my account, right? She's also AoEs in all skills, making sure that I can do Spider so much easier, and she's got a perfect veil mechanic for my stun targeting. So there's loads of things that this champion can do for me, and you just kind of break down the skill sets and where you're going to use them and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Actually, that champion like Ice Golem, an AoE decrease attack is probably the most important skill for the boss.
Yeah, and I was gonna feed her.
That one there, just like, damn. I'm actually jealous of the amount of epics you've got, man.
It wasn't always like that. I haven't
pulled a single epic.
Do you know what?
It's all been rares. I've been like, every single.
I spent 270 gems though on shards.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I just
right.
Because I got so annoyed because I seen legendaries here, legendaries there.
Yeah.
And I had a day away, right? I was at the KSI fight in London. So I had like a whole day behind everyone else. And my challenge mentality just kicked in like, no, I need a champion right now. And then I got Infernal Baroness from that shard, but then the other ones was from the missions. I was
chatting to, don't know if you know HG Senti, who's like one of the math brains of the game, right? And he was saying that the best way you could start the game, if you're just trying to rush challenges, rush everything else, is 900 gems becomes champions. If you just want to rush and try and beat stuff in the game and not worry about long term, 900 gems should be for shards, and then you've got the best chance of getting, because you get more food. You get more food at a higher level, so you get your first 60 quicker. You got a chance of getting a big legendary drop, which obviously can carry your game. And it's interesting. It's interesting to look at different tactics. Like, I didn't know that you would be turning gems into champions.
Yeah.
Even like I unlocked the gem mine yesterday, and I wonder if it's a mistake. I'm just like, should I have just used those gems for energy, pushing forward?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I always entice players like, don't do those things. Like I did say it, but before I pull, I'm like, this is kind of like entertainment. It's like a challenge, right? I'm trying to like progress as quickly as possible. But I did have to take it back a little bit. Like, relax, YSC. You're doing too much here, because I was going to make these silly mistakes that we're talking about. Like, so if I was going to do it, loads of people are going to probably do it as well. So it's definitely something that people are going to do. But in terms of your free-to-play, are you going to be playing in like an efficient way, or are you just going to be YOLOing the odd shard for fun, or how are you kind of taking on this journey?
Well, there's two things, isn't there? There's like, I want to make sure that I'm in a place to get the next fusion that comes. If it's a good one, I want to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like if we'd started
a week ago,
4 days earlier, we would all be able to get Pythian right now, by the way. Which is mad.
Look at my fragments. I was at like 25. I wasn't even trying.
Yeah. The only things that would have been a challenge would have been the
summonings,
champion chase and the summon stuff. But you actually get a reasonable amount of shards if you work at it early. But anyway, so it's a tough one. Like, I really want to YOLO shards. Like, I want to, because I haven't pulled anything.
Yeah.
I'm literally just like Elhain, and then I pick KO up. Like, this is it. I'm like, starter champion, meet starter champion, meet starter champion. That's all I got. So I really want to just YOLO shards, but I also want to show people how to play properly.
Yeah.
And, this series is not just going to be a 3-week thing. Actually, I tend to play the free-to-play accounts a good, 6 to 9 months of the year. So
yeah,
I think I will, on shards, I'm going to hold for sure sacreds, because they're the main kind of blocker really for fusions. I think. Can you pick some sacreds up?
Yeah.
And maybe I'll hold voids, and maybe get a bit YOLO-y on the ancients. I'm not sure.
We just see this.
Sometimes I say this. Yeah, that's it. You see a Chrissy, you're like, oh, I do have 3 voids. Should I go for it? But I mean, the chances, it's so low, isn't it? It's so low.
It's true.
If you got one, it would be like that. Goodbye, every other challenger. I've just got a Chrissy. Like, a Chrissy, is there a better champion in the game to pull?
Probably not, apart from Genzin. So all right, I think that's kind of everything we kind of. Is there anything else you want to touch up on that in terms of 16 champions?
No, I think just kind of draw yourself back to, because it's different for everyone, right? What do I need next? Have I got a space in my clan boss team, and do I have a champion that fills it? Do I have something in particular that I need for the arena? Does that champion need to be a 60? That's a question you need to ask yourself. And does this champion have loads of versatility, especially if it's an early one?
Yeah.
And I think if you're asking yourself those things, you can probably come to the answer yourself. Most people already know the answer. They're just not brave enough to do it. And so they have to ask 6 people. And then actually 6 people tell them a different thing, and they go back to their original thought, because they think, you know what, I knew the answer anyway.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right. Thank you so much for coming on the channel. I appreciate it. We actually did do a collab over on your channel as well, so I'm gonna leave that in the description below. Make sure you guys go drop them a subscription if you haven't already, by some chance. And yeah, we'll catch you guys on the video soon. And peace.